Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we now have the ball being able to fall. It has gravity. It bounces off of this. That's good. But now we need to be able to basically have it go off screen because it gets off to the screen. And then that's it, right? I need it to basically reset up here. And also, I need it to more or less kind of end the game when we are down here, right? So I need to do basically what I'm going to call bounds check. Okay, so what we'll do is on our update, because this could happen on every frame, so we're just going to add another function in here, and we'll just call it the bounds check, like so. And I'm just going to copy this part here, not the semicolon, Control C. Go down here, and we're going to add a new function called function space Control V, ball bounds check. And we're going to basically check whether our ball is past the right or past the bottom. Okay, so this will be pretty easy. We're just going to do two if statements. So we're going to say if the export root dot ball dot x. So we're going to test the xy or the x position. So basically, we're going to test whether it's going off to the right. So if that is greater than or equal to, we'll just do greater than. Actually, it's fine. 1280, because that's how, remember, that's how far out our stage goes. So basically, if it's past 1280, we're just going to have it say, let's just do this, because it's always good to just do an alert to make sure it works. Be like, we'll just say score, because this is going to be a score, and let's be excited about it. Okay, so let's see if this works. Let's bring this over. I'm going to hit refresh. Okay, yep, there we go. So I'm bring it over until hopefully it gets off the screen. Score. So it works. Okay, and it's just going to keep happening because we're always going to be past it. All right, that's obviously not what we want to have happen, but we're just making sure that that does indeed work. Now let's do one for the bottom. Yeah. So we'll just say if. So you might be familiar with if or else, but these are two separate things. So these are both separate ifs, if you're familiar with that at all. So we'll say if export root dot ball dot y, lowercase y, is greater than 960, because that's our ground, that's the bottom of our thing. We're going to say alert, you suck. And we're enthusiastic about it. Okay, so let's see if this indeed works. You can see it already works, but close it out. Okay, and you can see, voila, as soon as it hits that ground, boom, it says you suck, which is great. Okay, something we all know and can cherish. All right, so now we have it testing those two things. Now we need to tell it what to do on those two things. So what I want to do is this. We are going to make our score. So let's go up to the top here, and we'll just make something called score, and we'll make it equal to 0. Okay, so that's just going to hold our score, and we'll make it 0, 0. And what I want to have happen is every time that we go to the end, we want to take our score, and we're going to do plus plus. Okay, so basically what that's going to do is it's going to add to our score, and then we'll have it that when we die, it's going to tell us what our score is. Let's go ahead and test that. And our score was 0. Okay, let's refresh. Okay, there we go. Barely got there in time. And so now if I go over there, and now it says 25 because it kept going. That's actually not a good example. We'll come back to that, but this does work, I assure you. What I want to do, though, actually, is that when we go off, besides scoring, I need to reset the ball, right? Because right now it goes off the screen, and then that's it. It's still going to the right. It's not stopping going that direction. So I need to reset it to go back up here, okay? So that's what we're going to do. So I could write all the code right inside of here, but I think what I'm going to do instead is just make a new function and set that up. Now, what would be easiest is this. I want to set this ball up in an initial position, and then every time it resets, we'll put it here. Every time it resets, I want to reset its position to where I initially put it. So basically, I need to store this spot on the first frame, and then when it does go off screen, I'm going to tell it to go back to where this is. So what that means is I need to make more or less a start event, okay? So what we're going to do is up top right after the functions, because this is my update, we're going to do a start, which just means it'll run once, it'll run the first frame, and that's it. So we're just going to do function start like that. Okay. And what we're going to do is we are going to store the ball positions. So I'm going to go up here and we'll just say ball ball POSY, meaning position, 0. And then, oops, I don't know if that did something. Hopefully I didn't type something somewhere. 0. And then ball POSX, 0. I don't know why that's 0, 1. Oops. So for point of sale. Okay, so we're just going to initially make these values of 0, 0, even though that's not what they're going to be. And what we're going to do is on function start, we're going to give those the first value. So it'll be ball POSY is equal to export root dot ball dot y. And then we'll just copy this, Control C and Control V, and this will be X, and this will be X. Okay. Now, so basically when this function runs, it's going to store the current position of the ball, right? This is the current position of the ball into this value, even though I know we gave it an initial value of 0. I think if we don't do that, it didn't seem to work. So now this doesn't run. It's never told to run, right? We might have wrote start in here, but that doesn't mean anything to JavaScript. So what we're going to do is above this, we're just going to write start like that. So basically, the code's gonna read these variables first. Then it's gonna say start, and it's gonna run this start function. Then once it runs the start function, then it's gonna run this update. Okay, so basically, I just want this that when the game starts, it's going to store the current position of the ball, which will be right here, and then we can use this to reset our ball each time. It's just a little better than I could hard code the numbers, so I could grab this and be like, oh, it's 115 or minus 115 and 65. That's fine. But what if we want to change the position of the ball? Like I want to randomize where it spawns from. That would probably be a good thing. We're not going to do that, but we could do that. That would be hard coded, but I could change that number because I could use this instead as opposed to what we put there. Anyway, so we're going to say that that's good. All right, so now we have the initial position. So now what I can do is down here where we do the ball bounce check and we say, oh, if we're past 1280, we're going to add to the score. But I also want it to reset the position. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a new function underneath this called function new ball, although it's not really a new ball, like that. Okay. And so what we're going to do is after we score, we're going to say new ball. We're going to run that new ball function. And what that's going to do is just going to reset the ball. That's the idea here. So this new ball resets the ball. And yeah, so just basically it's just going to replace the ball. We could probably put written reset ball. That probably would have made more sense because we're not actually making a new ball. We're just literally taking the same ball and putting it back up there. Okay, so for this, what we're going to do is we're going to reset the position. So we're going to say export root dot ball dot y. We're going to give it the value of that ball POSY. Now remember, we stored that up in this start function. Where are you? At the top here. We stored it right here. Okay, so we're just going to give it that position. I'm just going to copy that because we don't need to write it twice. Control V, and this will be X and capital X. Okay, so basically it's going to reset the position there. The other thing I want to do is I want to make it a little bit more difficult every time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the ball speed X and we're going to make it plus equals 1. So currently the ball speed, if you look, is 10, which means it's moving 10 every tick. We're going to make it so that every time it goes, it's going to move up 1. So once we score once, it'll move 11. When we score the second time, it'll move 12. Then it'll move 13, 14, 15. So basically the ball's going to move across from left to right faster and faster and faster. It just makes it a little more difficult. We're also going to make it fall a little bit faster, which doesn't make physical sense. But why not? Multiplier. And this will be plus equals. And we're going to do 0.25. So we're just going to make it so that currently, I don't remember what the ball speed multiplier is a value of 5. So that's just going to increase it. Now you can play around with these numbers to make it easier or harder, but that should work. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to test this. Control Enter, and you can see boom, bounce, 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 and it's off. Oh, and I wasn't fast enough. I got a score of 1. Good for me. Refresh. Oh, that's why. Dang it. Let's try that again. Okay. It's kind of hard because it comes down real fast. Dang it. All right. I'm thinking it might need a little bit more speed to start with. So let's go up here and let's make the initial speed 12.5. Let's try that. Because that way it'll shoot out a little bit farther. Okay. There we go. Okay. The hardest part of the game is getting back. Okay, so it says 3. Went right through. Might need to adjust some numbers and what have you. Okay. All right. And I think let's close that out. I just want to check to see what my stuff is here. Okay. So that seems fine. Now you might need to up these numbers because that looked like it went through. So this is like the collision detection the area of it. So if you up those numbers, it will help it contact. You have to play around with them. Okay, so what we'll do here is just save this as baby bounce. Oops, bounce complete and save. Okay, and now we kind of have it. Now we could make this a lot more dynamic and a lot more interesting, but I didn't want to get too crazy with it because like it'd be nice if we had like live so we could keep track of that. I was also going to do like multiple balls so that way like this one would bounce and then we'd have a second one so that we'd have to go back and forth and all that, and then also do randomize like at what distance it goes and maybe randomize what speed it goes. But then it starts getting really big, and this is just supposed to be a 1 week exercise. Really what I would like to see you do is after you get this part done here, you just follow this. I want you to go through and then, because the other thing too is I would like to add animation here, so that when it does contact it, it would like make this movie clip, play, so that it would like bounce or something, and then maybe have this like do something too when it hits. But there's just not a lot of time to do that. So what I would like to see you do is just take this and make it something cool, and make this something cool. So it could be any number of things. I made this game with other people. I had people that had like this was a poop and this was a toilet, and so it's bouncing on the toilet. Had another one they did. They actually made a vending machine and it shot out beers, and then this was a cooler that you had to bounce the beers over to a guy over here. Just think about something you could bounce from one spot to another that keeps going out, right? So I think this other person put a butt here. I can't remember, but it was something like that. So think about what you want to do, but but be creative with it, and you can do a background if you want to, but just try to have that, do something fun with it. All right. Good luck.